Hello, fellow time travelers, ready to dust off the sands of forgotten eras. Did you know that over 12,000 years ago, when humans were thought to be mere nomads scraping by with stones and spears, they erected colossal temples that make us question everything about our prehistoric roots? Today, we are plunging into the enigmas of ancient Earth's lost civilizations, those shadowy societies that rose and vanished before the first scribes ever etched a word, leaving behind monuments that whisper of ingenuity, rituals, and untold dramas buried in time. Stick around as we unearth evidence from digs across the globe, blending hard archaeology with the thrill of what might have been. If you're hooked on peeling back history's layers like this, subscribe to History Unveiled for more journeys into the past. Let's keep the adventure going together. The dawn of prehistory, awakening after the ice. Picture this, it's around 12,000 years ago, and the world is shaking off the grip of the last ice age. Glaciers retreat, seas rise, and vast lands teem with megafauna, mammoths roaming steppes, rivers carving new paths. Humans, our clever ancestors, are transitioning from pure hunter-gatherers to something more settled. But were they really as primitive as old textbooks claim? Archaeological digs tell a different tale. One of organized communities, building not just for survival, but for meaning. In this era, known as the pre-pottery Neolithic, societies in the Fertile Crescent and beyond began experimenting with farming wild grains like einkorn, wheat, and barley, taming animals, and most astonishingly, erecting monumental structures. Eyewitness accounts. Well, we don't have diaries from back then, but carbon-dated bones and tools from sites like those in Upper Mesopotamia paint a vivid picture. Imagine a band of families, faces weathered by wind, gathering around campfires to plan something grand. What drove them? Was it the stars above, a shared vision, or perhaps a leader with a charismatic dream? These early sparks set the stage for Lost Worlds. We'll explore worlds that challenge our timeline of progress. As we dive deeper, remember, these aren't fairy tales. They're backed by decades of excavations from teams like those at UNESCO sites, revealing layers of human ambition long before pharaohs or kings. Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest temple complex. Let's start with a bombshell in southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, a hilltop sanctuary that flips the script on human history. Discovered in the 1990s by archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, this site dates back to 9500 BCE, that's 6,000 years before Stonehenge and 7,000 before the pyramids. Radiocarbon tests from the German Archaeological Institute confirm it. Layers of construction, spanning 1,500 years, built by people who hadn't yet invented pottery or metal tools. What did they create? Massive circular enclosures, up to 30 meters across, ringed by T-shaped limestone pillars, towering 7 meters high and weighing up to 50 tons. These weren't slapped together. Quarried from nearby bedrock, dragged with ropes and wooden levers, and arranged with precision. Central pairs of pillars, often carved with human-like arms and belts, stand like guardians, surrounded by benches where gatherings might have unfolded. The carvings, oh, they're mesmerizing. Lions prowling in relief, snakes coiling, vultures with outstretched wings, even abstract symbols like crescents and H-shapes. Schmidt theorized this as a ritual hub, not a village, where nomadic bands converged for feasts. Butchered bones of gazelles, wild boars, and geese suggest massive banquets, perhaps to honor ancestors or deities. Picture it, under a starlit sky, a shaman-like figure, adorned in animal skins, chants as flames flicker on those pillars. Drums echo. People share stories of hunts and omens, subtle threads of community, binding them in ways we can only imagine. But here's the suspense. Only 5% of the site is excavated. Geophysical scans show 20 more enclosures buried. Was this a pilgrimage site, drawing tribes from afar? Did it spark the Neolithic revolution, where rituals led to farming? Unanswered questions linger, like why they deliberately buried it around 8000 BCE, filling enclosures with rubble as if sealing away secrets. Schmidt called it the first temple, a place where spirituality drove society forward. What if these pillars weren't just stone, but portals to their cosmos, warding off evils in a changing world? As we ponder, let's shift to another cornerstone of prehistory, where walls rose not for worship, but for protection. Or was it something more? Jericho, the eternal city's prehistoric roots, travel with me to the Jordan Valley, to Jericho, often hailed as the world's oldest city. At Tel Es Sultan, layers peeled back by archaeologists like Kathleen Kenyon in the 1950s reveal settlements from 9600 BCE, making it a beacon of early urban life. UNESCO recognized it in 2023 as the oldest fortified site, with evidence from the British School of Archaeology confirming its prehistoric prowess. The star here, a massive stone wall, 3.6 meters high and 1.8 meters thick, encircling a 40,000 square meter settlement by 8350 BCE. Built from undressed stones, it was for show, to fend off floods from the nearby Jordan River or erosion on the alluvial plain. Inside, a staggering 8.5-meter tower with an internal staircase of 22 steps, the oldest known of its kind. Constructing this took communal muscle. Estimates say hundreds of workers hauling stones, perhaps under the guidance of elders who knew the land's moods. Homes were round mud brick huts, clustered around the Ain Es Sultan spring that still flows today. Inhabitants hunted gazelles, cultivated wild cereals, and buried their dead under floors, flexed bodies in baskets, sometimes with skulls removed for rituals. By 8500 BCE, in the pre-pottery Neolithic B phase, buildings squared off. Floors gleamed with lime plaster, and plastered skulls with shell eyes hinted at ancestor worship. Imagine a family huddling in their home, the tower's shadow looming as a storm brews. A young builder, hands calloused, pauses to etch a symbol on a flint tool. Did he wonder if their walls would stand forever? Jericho's significance. It shows organization emerging from necessity. Population swelled to thousands, trading obsidian and beads. But mysteries abound. Was the tower defensive, ceremonial, or a landmark for travelers? Around 7800 BCE, parts collapsed, perhaps from earthquakes, and the site saw hiatuses. What drove rebuilds, floods, invasions, or internal strife? This eternal city whispers of resilience, a lost prelude to the urban worlds that followed. Now, let's wander to a place where equality reigned in mud brick mazes, challenging our ideas of prehistoric power. Çatalhöyük, a labyrinth of egalitarian life in central Turkey's Konya Plain, lies Çatalhöyük, a proto-city thriving from 7500 to 5600 BC. Excavated by James Mellert in the 1960s and continued by Ian Hodder's team. This UNESCO site, dated via radiocarbon from Stanford Labs, spans 18 layers over 13 hectares, home to up to 8,000 people at its peak. No streets here. Houses clustered like a honeycomb, accessed via rooftops. Mud brick walls, plastered smooth, formed rectangular rooms with raised platforms for sleeping and working. Hearths crackled on south walls. Ovens baked bread from domesticated wheat and barley. No palaces or temples stood out. Genetic studies from the University of Liverpool suggest matrilineal households, passed mother to daughter, with men and women equal in diet and status. Art pulsed through daily life. Murals of hunting scenes, vultures pecking headless figures, even a possible volcano landscape. The oldest known reliefs of lionesses adorned walls, figurines, mostly animals, some women, like the famous seated woman, flanked by felines, hid in grain bins, burials under floors, with up to 60 in one house, included plastered skulls painted ochre red, evoking rituals of remembrance. Envision a day. A woman kneads dough on a platform, her child playing with clay toys, while outside, neighbors trade shells from the Mediterranean. A faint drumbeat signals a gathering in a larger room, where stories of aurochs hunts stir emotions. Was there a subtle hierarchy emerging, or pure communal harmony? Middens overflowed with ash and tools, but cleanliness ruled indoors. Çatalhöyük's legacy. It debunks hierarchy in early societies, showing advanced urban planning without kings. Yet, suspense builds. Why the obsession with death and animals? Did murals record real events or myths? By 5600 BCE, it dwindled. Climate shifts, overpopulation. This lost hub teases at how equality shaped human bonds. Lost to the waves, submerged realms like Doggerland. Now imagine lands swallowed by the sea. As ice melted post 12,000 BCE, seas rose 120 meters, drowning vast territories. Doggerland, a fertile plain linking Britain to Europe until around 6500 BCE, is a prime example. Mapped via seismic surveys by the University of Bradford, it spanned tundra, rivers like the ancient Thames extension, and lagoons teeming with game. Evidence. Trawled artifacts, a 10,000-year-old harpoon from red deer antler, Neanderthal tools over 40,000 years old, flint hammers from submerged rivers. Mesolithic hunters roamed here, fishing salmon, fouling birds. By 8200 BCE, a tsunami from Norway's Storegga slide, confirmed by sediment cores, may have wiped out coastal groups, killing thousands in a cataclysmic wave. Picture survivors, a family fleeing rising waters, their wooden huts vanishing under foam. Did they carry tales to new shores? Similar fates hit Sundaland in Southeast Asia or Sahul near Australia, lost bridges of migration. These submerged worlds hint at forgotten populations, their tools now seabed relics. What technologies or stories sank with them? The ocean guards its secrets, urging us to wonder about climate's ruthless hand. Legends and myths, Atlantis and echoes of the past. We can't ignore the tantalizing legends that blur fact and fancy. Take Atlantis, spun by Plato around 360 BCE. In his dialogues Timaeus and Creatus, he described a utopian island empire beyond Gibraltar, larger than Asia and Libya, with concentric canals, orichalcum walls, and a navy conquering Europe until Athens repelled them and cataclysms sank it 9,000 years prior. Archaeologists dismiss it as allegory for hubris. But inspirations linger. The Thera eruption around 1600 BCE devastated Minoan Crete, with tsunamis mirroring the tale. No evidence for a real Atlantis, per experts like those at the Smithsonian, yet it echoes real losses like submerged sites, other myths, Lemuria or Mu, pseudoscientific fables of Pacific continents, lack digs but fuel curiosity. Imagine Plato's Atlanteans as distorted memories of prehistoric seafarers, their golden cities lost to waves. What if these stories preserve kernels of truth from oral histories? They add spice, reminding us history's edges are fuzzy. As we wrap this odyssey through ancient Earth's lost civilizations, what stands out? From Göbekli Tepe's ritual pillars to Jericho's defiant walls, Çatalhöyük's equal homes, and Doggerland's drowned plains. These societies showcase human ingenuity blooming before writing captured it. They farmed, built, ritualized, and adapted, verified by digs from Turkey to the North Sea, proving our ancestors were architects of complexity, not just survivors. Yet mysteries persist. Why bury Göbekli Tepe? Could submerged lands hide advanced tech? Was Atlantis a garbled echo of real cataclysms, or pure philosophy? And the big what if? Might undiscovered sites reveal outside influences, like comets or forgotten migrations, reshaping our past? Could similar fates await us with rising seas today? I'd love to hear your theories. Did these tales spark your imagination? Drop a comment below, share your favorite lost mystery, and let's discuss. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe to History Unveiled, like and hit the bell for more uncovers. Until next time, keep questioning the shadows of time. Thanks for joining me.